Hello there and a very good morning wherever you're watching us from. This is Kirk in the morning, the 22nd of March 2022. We have a good show lined up for you. It's just for you to follow with us this morning. And what we want to talk about in our conversation this morning is all about to do with Mandamano. Is it Mandamano reloaded? We thought it was Tear Gas Mondays, but now it will be Tear Gas Monday and Thursdays, and that's the conversation that we are going to have this morning, and what the effects and impacts of this Mandamano will be for the economy of Kenya. My name is Vincent Kerosi. I want to invite you into this show. Remember that you can weigh in, chat with us on our social media pages, Kirk TV Kenya on Facebook, Kirk TV _Kenya on Twitter, as well as our SMS number is 0311 002244, and we'll be able to look at what you are going to say this morning. But first things first, time to look at what is happening on our roads leading to the city this morning. Well, time to have a look at what is happening on roads, especially those leading to the central business districts this morning. Let's begin by having a look at what is happening on Thika Road this morning. Thika Road is really bad. If you are on Thika Road this morning and you haven't left your house, kindly be sure that it's not going to be an easy ride into the city, because it is bumper to bumper on your way into the city. Let me have a look at other roads this morning. Maybe we have a look at what is happening on Jogo Road into the city this morning. Jogo Road, a little bit of traffic, a little bit of heavy snarl-ups around Makadara, and on your way into the city, but albeit is moving. Let's have a look at what is happening on Mombasa Road this morning. Mombasa Road is actually moving all the way from JKIA through City Cabanas, a little bit of traffic around Capital Center and around, of course, the Nyayo roundabout, but all the same, it's moving into the city this morning. So people on Mombasa Road, you have a good ride into the city. Langata Road, really bad. Langata Road this morning. A lot of traffic. If I can look at what is happening on my gadget here, a lot of traffic, especially in the connection between T-Mall and Nyayo roundabout. It's not moving at all. It is a parking lot for that matter this morning. Maybe have a look at what is happening on Ngong Road, city bound. Ngong Road, city bound. Well, it's not also a good road to use this morning. I can see scenes here of very heavy traffic headed into the city this morning. What about the avenues connecting the CBD this morning? Kenyatta Avenue, a little bit of traffic just around the roundabout there. GPO all the way to Kimathi House, just a little bit of traffic there. Moi Avenue, traffic as well. Haile Selassie Avenue as well, there is a little bit of traffic there. But all the same, it's not a good morning really into the city as far as the roads are concerned. And basically that is what is happening on the roads this morning. If you have instances maybe you want us to report on, you can speak to us. Let me see what you're saying on Twitter here. Looking at someone saying someone is out of fuel on Thika Road service lane. Avoid it if you can. That is via Cheptab to Imsin. I look at another one here. 1 hour from Survey to Modaiga, Thika Road traffic is bad. Of course, that is Cheptab to Imsin as well. I see a good picture there of someone decided just to have his crisps this morning, probably because of how heavy the traffic is, so to just have something even as he enters the city this morning. Basically what I'm seeing here, people are saying that Thika Road is really in a mess. Jogo Road as well, Wayakiwe is smooth, no major incident to report as far as that road is concerned. If you have an incident or accident that you would like us to report for the sake of the traveler this morning, be sure to get in touch on our social media, Kirk TV Kenya on Facebook, or our SMS number 0311220044. We'll be able to sample what you say even as we continue with the show. In a nutshell, that is the road this morning. Well, after the roads, let's have a look at the major or the two top dailies in the country this morning and what has been written. Well, I have with me here the Daily Nation and the Standard today, and the top page of the Daily Nation, Raila steps up onslaught against Ruto. Upping the ante, opposition leader Raila Odinga yesterday announced mass action twice a week, even as he made a fresh demand for the reinstatement of 4 independent electoral and boundaries commission bosses who were forced out and accused police of brutality during Monday's protest. The story is covered on page 4, where, of course, the Azimio leader has now said that the protest will be taking place on Monday and Thursday every week. The opposition leader, Raila Odinga, alleging an attempt on his life and that of Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka during the anti-government protest on Monday, even as he stepped up the onslaught against President William Ruto's administration, declaring the mass action will take place twice a week. Let's see how that goes, because that also makes a conversation this morning. There is a story here on page 5. Kenya Kwanza leaders want ODM share of party's fund given to UDA to cover losses for damaged office in Kisumu. The story here is sees Raila overkills Ruto allies, tell the police. Here, the Ruto allies, of course, led by the Kenya Kwanza MPs. I see a picture there of Ndindi Nyoro, the Kiharu MP, saying that now the police should take action against Raila Odinga over the chaos that were witnessed on Monday during the Azimio la Umoja mass action protest. All right, a story on page 7 of the Nation as well. Businesses count losses day after Azimio protests. Tourism players worry about reverse of gains made in revival of the sector there. Those are, of course, the outcries after what was witnessed on Monday. But a story on page 6, a sad one. A mother's heartbreak as son is shot dead by the police. Of course, this is a story to do with a third-year student called William, who, of course, fell to a single shot to the neck a few meters from the university, that is Masai University's gate, during Monday's protest. And this is really, really sad here. A picture of a mother shedding tears uncontrollably. We really want to believe that this family the family of William Mayenga, will at least get some respite or get some justice. Putting aside the Daily Nation, let's have a look at what is covered in the Standard this morning. The top page, battle for the hustler's soul. Ruto's take, Azimio leaders are insincere and want to get into government through the back door. He is willing to hold talks. This is the President William Ruto saying he is willing to hold talks with anyone who has the interest of the nation at heart. He also says he has a plan that will lower the cost of living, but it takes time to implement. They've also covered something there on the bottom up, and this is what the President William Ruto's rallying call during the campaigns was, let's make life better for the low-income earner. With the shoe on the other foot, opposition leader is consolidating support of the Wananchi to protest the high cost of living. Raila's ex cost of living, Azimio is pushing for lowering of the cost of food, fuel, and electricity. and the electoral justice, they are fighting the reconstitution of the IBC, saying the president is acting unilaterally. They also want an inclusive government. They say the president's promoting tribalism through appointments. That's a story covered on page 6, 7, 8, and 9 of the Standard this morning. All right. Basically the story is all about the Mandamano and the new demands of the Azimio leader Raila Odinga. But I see a story here. Cabinet clears the way for selling of parastatals as MP denied say. Privatization Bill of 2023 allows Treasury to privatize public enterprises without Parliament's approval. Cabinet approves restructuring of debt service obligation for the Aror, Kimwarer, and Itare Dam. Basically, those are the stories that have been covered by the Standard. Maybe you look at the back page of the Standard. It's all about sports and who was the best runner in the Premier League title race. This is all about between Arsenal and Man City as we enter into the home stretch of the English Premier League. They're just looking at who has a better run in on the remainder of the matches yet to be played. And they say that Arsenal plays Leeds on 1st April. Of course, that is after the current international break, while Man City will play Liverpool on that very day. We wait and see what happens, but it seems that it's going to be really a special season for us, the lovers of the EPL. Basically, that is what is covered in the papers this morning. As I always tell you, if you have a reason to read, then pick out your favorite and look at the stories covered by my fellow journalists here. Some stories are juicy, some are hard, some are tough to take, but we all have to read for the betterment of our own knowledge and our country going forward. That's the newspaper review. Well, after the newspaper review, time to have a snippet at what is making news at this hour. And the Director of Public Prosecutions, that's Nuruddin Haji, has opposed bond application from rally driver Maxim Hoaume, who is accused of killing a late boyfriend Asad Khan. Haji, through the State Council Alam Lama on Tuesday, March 21st, asked High Court Judge Lilian Mtende to deny Maxine bail pending the hearing and determination of the murder trial on grounds that she is a flight risk and will interfere with witnesses. While asking the judge to deny Maxine bail, Lama stated that immediately after the incident happened, the former celebrated rally driver attempted to flee.
And also stated that even when she was summoned outside the requirements of the court by the DCI, she religiously attended and faithfully. And she's also given her various undertakings, which I would like the court to look at in paragraph 13 and 14. This is her own words, not the words of counsel. On the law, my lady, the bail is a right guaranteed under Article 49(1)H and can only be denied under exceptional circumstances. And the reason why I state that is Article 49(1)H provides that bail is already a right unless there are compelling reasons. This court and numerous high courts have defined compelling reasons as rousing, strong, with conviction or admiration. And these compelling reasons have to be specific and contained in cogent data. Let's say in an affidavit or possibly the bail report. The bail and bond policy guidelines
Chaos erupted in Maseno town as Maseno University students took to the streets to protest the killing of one of their colleagues during the Azimio la Umoja protest on Monday. Transport along the Kisumu-Busia road was disrupted for several hours as the students engaged police officers in running battles. They claimed police officers were attempting to cover up the killing by claiming the deceased was part of a group that had raided a supermarket. The students, led by one of the student leaders, Joseph Mbaka, denied claims by the police that they were looting from businesses during the Monday protests. William Mayange, our third-year student, was shot during the Azimio la Umoja protests. The student was hit on the neck and died on arrival at Coptic Hospital.
Killed William. That is when 1, 2, 3 things that they are reporting that happened.
My child is not abandoned. He was to finish his course next year. Now this is the kind of graduation they are bringing me to. Mtoto wangu aliokotwa huko kwa barabara. Alikufia tu pale pale. Askari waliua mtoto wangu.
And on a story that will form the basis of a discussion today, Kenya Kwanza leaders won the Azimio la Umoja coalition held accountable for the destruction and damages occasioned by the Monday mass protest, accusing them of intentionally frustrating the Kenya Kwanza administration from delivering its mandate, while the Azimio on the other side maintains that unless their demands are met, then the demonstrations will continue.
How does a disrupting campaign of looting and violent mayhem address the cost of living? Why actually didn't he demonstrate before the elections when unga was costing 230 shillings?
Mr. Odinga is involved in a scheme of urban banditry and economic terrorism, which cannot be a solution to the high cost of living. And that's why we're asking Mr. Odinga and Mr. Kenyatta, how will destroying property and destroying the economy help to bring down the cost of living? And we must tell you, Mr. Kenyatta, Mr. Odinga, the cost of living is where it is because you two took it there.
Tunajua hii fujo yote anafanya ni kwa binafsi yake yeye mwenyewe, ni kwa maslaha yake yeye mwenyewe, kwa sababu wakati alikuwa katika ile inaitwa handshake, tuliona bidhaa za vitu zikipanda bei.
If anyone is thinking that this is merely an activity that is going to end sometime soon, then he's living in a different planet. We are in this until all our demands are met.
Wewe ukitaka hii maandamano ikuishe, maneno ni fupi tu. Tangaza leo unga ni shilingi 70. Sewi. Tangaza ya kwamba IEBC will be recruited in a bipartisan manner. Tangaza ya kwamba sava itafunguliwa.
If he refuses to bulge because he wants to claim that he is tough-headed, seated at the throne and the seat of power, desecrating the same seat in State House, we are reminding him for free that it will be on a day.
Well, that is a little bit of what is making the news at this hour. We are due for a short break, but we'll be right back when we'll be joined by our guest in studio to speak and talk about the issue to do with the Mandamano, the protest. Now that the Azimio leader Raila Odinga has called for a double protest each week beginning next Monday, that is on Monday and Thursdays. How impactful is this going to be to the economy of Kenya, and is it going to make the government to back in and try to, give in to the demands of the Azimio la Umoja coalition? That is going to make a conversation this morning. Be sure to engage with us on our social media handles, Kirk TV Kenya, and as well as SMS number is 0311 220044. We'll be able to look at what you say. So do not go away. We'll be right back shortly for that conversation.
Keep it Kirk now and going forward. We have a lot of family programs, and this being a Christian commercial station, We will partner with you as institutions, as individuals, so that we are able to reach out to the entire world. One person said that my parish is the entire world, and I believe that Kirk TV is going globally, and therefore bring your business. We are going to advertise it and also partner with you.
To partner with us, send your financial support to pay bill number 401-9613, account partner. Pay bill number 401-9613, account partner.
Are you looking to grow your business? Kirk TV offers you a variety of advertising opportunities to suit your budget. Advertise with us today and reach your potential customers countrywide. For more information, email us on sales@kirktv.org or call 011 00 90 647.
Greetings to all of you who watch Kirk TV programs. I send you Christian love and peace from all the Kirk family and the entire ministry. Since God gave us this Kirk TV, which is a very competent means of reaching people in and outside Kenya, Kirk TV is undoubtedly giving good and effective services to many people wherever our signal reaches. It is evident that God is at work through Kirk TV. We therefore need your loving support through your continuous prayers. We also appeal passionately for your generous financial support to help us be on air as the Lord will require us to do and to be. Please plan to give regularly. Please give occasionally. Or you can begin to give a one-time gift. The scripture is right that you will be made rich in every way so that you can be generous on every occasion, and your generosity will result in thanksgiving to God. Please respond to this genuine, urgent appeal. Kindly be a Kirk TV partner. May God bless you abundantly as we join hands to do this good work.
To partner with us, send your financial support to pay bill number 401-9613, account partner. Pay bill number 401-9613, account partner.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of God.
What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and griefs to bear.
Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted.
Oh, what peace we often forfeit.
Keep it Kirk now and going forward. We have a lot of family programs, and this being a Christian commercial station, we will partner with you as institutions, as individuals, so that we are able to reach out to the entire world. One person said that my parish is the entire world, and I believe that Kirk TV is going globally, and therefore bring your business. We are going to advertise it and also partner with you.
To partner with us, send your financial support to pay bill number 401-9613, account partner. Pay bill number 401-9613, account partner.
Are you looking to grow your business? Kirk TV offers you a variety of advertising opportunities to suit your budget. Advertise with us today and reach your potential customers countrywide. For more information, email us on sales@kirktv.org or call 011 00 90 647.
Greetings to all of you who watch Kirk TV programs. I said you Christian love and peace from all the Kirk family and the entire ministry. Since God gave us this Kirk TV, which is a very competent means of reaching people in and outside Kenya, Kirk TV is undoubtedly giving good and effective services to many people wherever our signal reaches. It is evident that God is at work through Kirk TV. We therefore need your loving support through your continuous prayers. We also appeal passionately for your generous financial support to help us be on air as the Lord will require us to do and to be. Please plan to give regularly. Please give occasionally. Or you can begin to give a one-time gift. The scripture is right that you will be made rich in every way so that you can be generous on every occasion, and your generosity will result in thanksgiving to God. Please respond to this genuine, urgent appeal. Kindly be a Kirk TV partner. May God bless you abundantly as we join hands to do this good work.
To partner with us, send your financial support to pay bill number 401-9613, account partner. Pay bill number 401-9613, account partner.
Rejected and lonely, and like no one cares, Jesus cares. He is our shepherd. The Bible says in the book of 1 Peter chapter 5 that Jesus is our shepherd and he cares for the flock. And so it is our duty to humble ourselves before God and acknowledge God as sovereign, the maker of heaven and earth, the sustainer of the creation, the one who is concerned of each and everything that we are and we could be going through this hour, because he is our Father. He is the shepherd and he is our Father.
Kuna watu wengine wana struggle sana, akipeana tithe hata inauma, nasikia uchungu. Mwingine atamwomba Mungu ya kwamba nibariki, na wakati utanibariki na kazi, I will be giving you the 10th of my income. But when it gets to the reality, anakumbuka mama alikuwa ameniitisha kikoi, watoto wangu wanafungua shule next week. Anaanza kudebate na Bwana na anaanza kusema Mungu ataelewa. Bwana Yesu asifiwe sana. Lakini si ni wewe uliahidi, sio Mungu alikusukuma.
On the next episode of The Legends, we will welcome into the program the Reverend Festus Gitonga, a former Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, who himself has intimated to me several times that he has one more year to go. So we want to understand how he is preparing himself for retirement and the experiences when he was a Secretary General and the advice that he can give to many of us. So we welcome you to our next program of The Legends.
Doesn't matter how much you feel abandoned, rejected and lonely, and like no one cares, Jesus cares. He is our shepherd. The Bible says in the book of 1 Peter chapter 5 that Jesus is our shepherd and he cares for the flock. And so this hour, it is our duty to humble ourselves before God and acknowledge God as sovereign, the maker of heaven and earth, the sustainer of the creation, the one who is concerned of each and everything that we are and we could be going through this hour, because he is our Father. He is the shepherd and he is our Father.
Kuna watu wengine wana struggle sana, akipeana tithe.
Brutal Ruto regime now exposed. Statement on the Monday protest march. Yesterday, we had a date with destiny that was immensely successful. We wish to take this early opportunity to thank our supporters and patriotic Kenyans who turned out in large numbers to salvage our country. Our country and our democracy are much stronger because of the unwavering resolve of these patriotic citizens of our country. We also wish to express our gratitude to the media who shone a light on the demonstrations the whole day, and the Kenyans were able to see that it is the police who are violent and inciting the violence. They also informed the international community about what was happening here in Kenya. Therefore, we thank you. Very unfortunately, during this otherwise peaceful process, many of the demonstrators got hurt, and at least 2 innocent Kenyans were killed in cold blood by the police. We pass our sincere condolences to the families that lost loved ones to the police brutality. We will stand with those families in all ways, including pursuing justice on behalf of their loved ones. We will ensure that all those responsible are held to account for the lives that were cut short and the pains of those who got injured. There was an attempt on the lives of both Honorable Raila Odinga and Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. Their cars were shot at, but luckily they were unharmed. We, however, remain horrified and disgusted by the response by the police. At a time the country is going through major security challenges in huge swaths of the country, where bandits and other criminals appear to have taken charge, we were shocked that police could assemble so many personnel and so much equipment to confront peaceful protesters. That brutality witnessed yesterday does not belong to this country. It is the more disgusting because the citizens were acting within the provisions of the Constitution and were given notice of the intention to march on Nairobi. It is impunity at its worst. We were determined to confront it as they saw yesterday. We demand the immediate and unconditional release of all our people who were arrested yesterday. We appeal to our supporters to show up and stand in solidarity with our compatriots who are being held wherever they are, including the courts. In this struggle, there is no big or small fighter. The police are clearly the last straw of brutal Ruto. Ruto's greatest aspiration is to return Kenya to the old dictatorship, where he is the unquestioned tyrant controlling everyone's life. While we condemn Ruto's brutality and the ruthlessness, we have come to the conclusion that our police shall never change unless we make them change. We therefore wish to make Kenyans know that we have put together a team of security and legal experts to examine the conduct and orders given by the police commanders to the officers on the streets that led to the brutality meted out yesterday. We shall institute legal action against individual officers who give such orders that led to the mayhem. Brutal Ruto regime now exposed. Statement on the Monday protest march. Yesterday, we had a date with destiny that was immensely successful. We wish to take this early opportunity to thank our supporters and patriotic Kenyans who turned out in large numbers to salvage our country. Our country and our democracy are much stronger because of the unwavering resolve of these patriotic citizens of our country. We also wish to express our gratitude to the media who shone a light on the demonstrations the whole day, and the Kenyans were able to see that it is the police who are violent and inciting the violence. They also informed the international community about what was happening here in Kenya. Therefore, we thank you. Very unfortunately, during this otherwise peaceful process, many of the demonstrators got hurt, and at least 2 innocent Kenyans were killed in cold blood by the police. We pass our sincere condolences to the families that lost loved ones to the police brutality. We will stand with those families in all ways, including pursuing justice on behalf of their loved ones. We will ensure that all those responsible are held to account for the lives that were cut short and the pains of those who got injured. There was an attempt on the lives of both Honorable Raila Odinga and Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. Their cars were shot at, but luckily they were unharmed. We, however, remain horrified and disgusted by the response by the police. At a time the country is going through major security challenges in huge swaths of the country, where bandits and other criminals appear to have taken charge, we were shocked that police could assemble so many personnel and so much equipment to confront peaceful protesters. That brutality witnessed yesterday does not belong to this country. It is the more disgusting because the citizens were acting within the provisions of the Constitution and were given notice of the intention to march on Nairobi. It is impunity at its worst. We were determined to confront it as they saw yesterday. We demand the immediate and unconditional release of all our people who were arrested yesterday. We appeal to our supporters to show up and stand in solidarity with our compatriots who are being held wherever they are, including the courts. In this struggle, there is no big or small fighter. The police are clearly the last straw of brutal Ruto. Ruto's greatest aspiration is to return Kenya to the old dictatorship, where he is the unquestioned tyrant controlling everyone's life. While we condemn Ruto's brutality and the ruthlessness, we have come to the conclusion that our police shall never change unless we make them change. We therefore wish to make Kenyans know that we have put together a team of security and legal experts to examine the conduct and orders given by the police commanders to the officers on the streets that led to the brutality meted out yesterday. We shall institute legal action against individual officers who give such orders that led to the mayhem.
All right, welcome back to Kirk in the Morning. Of course, time to get into the conversation this morning. Time to invite and welcome my guest in studio, Naftali Etale Otiato. Yeah. Karibu sana. Asante. How are you, Naftali?
I'm fine. And
have you been for a while now? You've been here before, right?
I've been here before. Sometimes back before elections.
Yeah. Time will be back after election now.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the issue to do with the mass action of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance.
Yes.
You saw what happened on Monday.
Yeah.
And of course you saw what happened yesterday when the leader of Azimio la Umoja, Raila Odinga, came and said now it's not going to be just Mandaman, it's going to be a double Mandaman. That's on Mondays and Thursdays as from next week. But before then, I want us to just take a few of the things that he raised yesterday.
Yeah.
The cost of living. Azimio is pushing for lowering of the cost of food, fuel and electricity. He also talked about electoral justice, where he said they are fighting the reconstitution of IBC, saying the president is acting unilaterally. And of course he talked about the reinstatement of the four dissenting members of the IBC who are no longer now in office. Also talk about the inclusivity in government, when he said the president is promoting tribalism through appointments. First, to begin with, are you satisfied with the demands of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance?
I can say that most of those demands, they are very valid demands, because all those issues they are trying to raise, those are very valid issues that actually are affecting the common mwananchi. So they have a point. They need to be listened to. Yeah.
We've had the Kenya Kwanza, talk about the mass action, the protests and the demonstrations. They asked a question, a pertinent question yesterday,
yes,
that is, holding mass action protests every day going to lower the cost of living, or is it going to make the economy even worse than it is, and thus even skyrocketing the cost of basic commodities for that matter?
Of course, everything has got its own advantages and disadvantages. For example, these Kenya Kwanza MPs who are talking right now, they are the ones in the government. So they need to come up with the policies that are going to ensure that the cost of living comes down. Because they cannot ask the opposition now if the mandamano is going to lower the cost of living. It's them who have the tools. They have the majority in the parliament and they have the government in place. So instead of throwing tantrums, they can sit down, come up with the policies that are going to lower the cost of living. For example, they cannot just tell us, let us wait for the rain. We have given you fertilizer, you plant, then the cost of living will come down. We want to live for today. We don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, because if you tell us that we wait for 6 months or 1 year, and eating is a basic need, food is a basic need. So if you tell us that we wait for another 1 year so that we harvest, you are actually trying to tell us that we continue suffering as we wait. What if we suffer and then we die?
And you've said that everything has advantages and disadvantages. What are the advantages of the protests for you?
First of all, protests are enshrined in the Constitution.
Yes.
They are not extra constitutional. If you look at Article 37 of the Constitution, is very clear that any Kenyan has got a right to peacefully demonstrate and picket. As long as you are unarmed, you present your petitions, there is no problem. You can peacefully picket. The problem is that now we have criminal elements that will always come and take advantage of the protest. Some of the guys who engage in those criminal activities are not even protesters. You find them, they are just taking advantage. Maybe they take advantage of the protest, they go and loot. That is the disadvantage. But if you look at the Constitution, that is the protests have achieved so many things in this country, not just this country, but elsewhere. We normally see even people protest in the UK, even in the USA.
Yeah.
Whenever you are dissatisfied and people in authority cannot listen to your concerns, it normally becomes the last resort, whereby people go and picket, agitating for their rights.
Yeah, it's insurance is given for in the Constitution, but according to you, what is the end product of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya's mass action? What is the end product? you look at it?
You know, the Monday protest, you had the Deputy President, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua.
Yeah.
He was saying that the country lost
2 billion.
2 billion.
That day, yeah.
So, and then on top of that, you can see that there are people who lost livelihood, people could not travel.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if people did not report to work, people did not open their businesses, this clearly shows you that this protest had a very greater impact, a negative impact on the economy. So now they have come to realization that this thing is going to have an impact. Now it is time they need to calm down, sit down, and they speak to each other and see how they can address some of these issues that are being raised.
Yeah, and if I look at President Ruto's take according to the Standard here, this is what he says: Azimio leaders are insincere and want to get into government through the back door. He is willing to hold talks with anyone who has the interest of the nation at heart. He also says he has a plan that will lower the cost of living, but it takes time to implement.
You know, the president has been very clear that he is not going to subsidize consumption.
Yeah.
He said he is going to subsidize production. And that is how he came up with the idea of the subsidized fertilizer that he has been talking about. But you see, production is not just about maize. We have so many factors of production. For example, the cost of electricity as we speak is very high. And from my point of view, I know very well that electricity is a factor when it comes to production. These industries will require electricity. Therefore, you cannot produce, you cannot say you are investing in production if the cost of electricity is going to be very high. So at the end of the day, he also needs to come up with mechanisms to ensure that he also brings down the cost of electricity. If he has to bring if he has to reintroduce the subsidies, so be it. Because we know very well that subsidies are not sustainable, yes, but they are short term. Most countries, when they are experiencing this kind of crisis, they normally introduce those subsidies to cushion the suffering Kenyans as we wait for the situation to change. So maybe instead of just subsidizing fertilizer, he needs to do more.
What he's saying is that he has a plan that is going to take time. What he means that you be patient, the opposition, be patient and give him time to deliver. But again, the opposition is here saying it's been 6 months in office. We haven't seen any major, successful steps forward. Is it a case of, everyone pulling towards their side, or we are in for a better country than it is?
I think maybe I can say he's trying to trivialize the whole issue, because when he tells the opposition to give him time, actually these issues that are being raised, they are not affecting the opposition members. It cuts across the board. For example, if Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga raises issues on the cost of living, I'm sure he's not suffering because the cost of living is high. He can survive whichever cost of living, whether it is high or low. I don't think he will have problems. The cost of electricity, I don't think those leaders can fail to afford it. If you look at the cost of education also, school fees and so on, these guys have got money and they can take their children to whichever schools they want. So it is not just about opposition, but the common mwananchi who is suffering. So actually, he should not ask them, but he should tell Kenyans that this is what I have done, this is what I intend to do, so give me time. But at the end of the day, they had a manifesto. That manifesto, they had things that they were going to sort out short term, middle term, then a long term. So we cannot just put all our plans to be long term. For example, now, in 100 days, there are those things that they were supposed to do. Up to today, we have not seen anything being done.
At least they have, sworn into office the judges of the High Court that the previous regime did not.
They have sworn into office those judges, but you see, at the end of the day, those are not things that will directly affect the common man.
But that's one of the things that he said.
They said yes, but you see, swearing in those judges that doesn't add any economical value to what we are seeing right now. So yes, they were sworn in. But again, you look at the judiciary the way it is, then you just realize that maybe it was a strategy to try and capture that judiciary. You see, since they were sworn in cases of people who are suspected to have engaged themselves in corruption, most cases have been dropped. People have been given back their money that was frozen. So I don't think swearing in on those Court of Appeal judges had any impact on how Kenyans were going to move forward. You know, Kenyans want tangible things, like when you tell them in the next 100 days, if I just put the Biblia down, this is going to happen. That is exactly what they want. So if you go to the rural areas and you tell them judges were sworn in, they will look at you and say, now, how is it affecting us in our normal life?
You know, I want us to look deeply into this, mass action of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition.
Yes.
It's not a new thing, especially in the circles of the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. It has happened before. And actually in 2017, in the first 1 or 2 months of 2018, there were also such scenarios that we are seeing today. And the end product was the handshake. But this time round, he is insisting that he doesn't want an handshake. Then if looking at history, he has always agitated for something to happen. He agitated for the cost of living to go down then. But did it go down really before the handshake? I doubt if it did. And this time round, he says it's not the handshake. Is it the cost of living really, or people say he does this for himself? He's doing it for himself.
You know, every politician has got his own interests. So we have those politicians that will have their own interests. Then we have others that will have their own interests plus interests of the people. So at the end of the day,
where does Raila stand in those two categories that you mentioned?
You know, he has a history whereby he has been having such issues for a long period of time. He has that history. But if you look at that history critically, you will find out that Kenya has achieved something out of those so many issues that he has been raising.
Like for you, if I asked you, what was the major or the great achievement after the 2018 handshake? Because he had also agitated, he was involved in mass action for like 2 months or so.
2018 handshake actually brought calm in the country, because you remember there was a lot of tension. There are areas that the president could not even visit. And then if you look at the way development was being done, it was skewed. But immediately after handshake, we saw some progress, because even the most infrastructural projects that were completed, they were done during that particular period. Because there was peace, they could consult, and therefore we saw a lot of roads being made, and we even saw some areas that did not have development. We saw the government taking development into those areas. But it is not supposed to be the case, because the constitution says that whoever is in power is supposed to serve everybody, every corner of the country. But you see, the structure of our country is that the winner simply takes it all. Like recently you saw Rigathi Gachagua talking about Kenya being a company.
A limited company.
You will be on the queue looking who invested, who did not invest. So that was a discriminatory language. Ideally, that should not be the case. With or without handshake, everybody should benefit from the government because of the taxes they pay. But if you look at the handshake that was done, it brought some calm. Then, of course, we saw some progress in terms of development and infrastructure. Although COVID-19 came in and then disrupted everything, but at least we can see progress.
Another question that people they ask, you say that there was some progress, especially infrastructurally. Now, there are progresses, but at what expense, at what cost? And people are saying that some of these projects were overpriced. There were a lot of money exchange hands in there in terms of the finances that went through those projects. And this is because we didn't have an out-and-out opposition to keep the government in check in terms of these projects.
We have a problem because when we promulgated the new constitution in 2010, somehow the constitution did away with the opposition.
Yeah, there is
now, if you look at the constitution, there is nothing like opposition. You just have the majority and the minority.
Yeah.
It's very difficult because you find someone who is supposed to perform that opposition role is now outside. And you see the structure of the current structure we have. We have a presidential system whereby parliament as a whole is supposed to play the oversight role. So if parliament fails, everything fails. Because now, you see, we don't have the leader of opposition. Now it's parliament that is wholesomely, whether you sit on the majority side or a minority side, you are supposed to provide checks and balances for the executive. You should not wait for any other person, because if you look at the work of parliament, legislation, oversight and representation.
But there should be that alternative voice for that matter. And
yes, there should be
the role
alternative.
that did not win the election usually plays.
But you see, whenever something is not in the constitution, it becomes very difficult. You see, there's no official opposition leader's office, no budget. So he has to check the government using his own resources, which is not right. Because at the end of the day, he will be doing it at his own discretion, whether he likes it or not. Nobody can hold him to account that you did not check the government, because actually nobody is paying him to do that job. It's a voluntary job. We can decide to do it or not. But if we have a structured office of the opposition, like the way it was proposed in the BBI, then we can have proper checks and balances. But right now it's still amorphous. Because the parliamentarians who expect to be checking the government are also in bed with the same government. Because whether you are elected on a ruling party's ticket or on the other side, once you go into that parliament, your role is to oversight. Make sure that the resources that are allocated to those ministries, they are prudently used and they are not embezzled. That is the work of parliament. So unless if we want to reintroduce the office of opposition, we can now go back to a referendum and we bring it back in a structured way. But as it stands, only parliament can do oversight.
The President, William Ruto, has proposed an amendment bill in parliament to create that official opposition office. But the opposition, that is the Azimio la Umoja, are against that.
I think it was in the BBI, which the President opposed. He said it was going to create positions for those, but I think BBI had some good clauses that if it had been implemented, right now maybe the crisis we are into. Because you can imagine, we have a situation whereby someone gets 7.1 million, another one gets 6.9. You see, they are almost equal. Then this one who gets 6.9 just goes home like that. Another one who gets 7.1 remains.
A difference of 200.
The winner is taking everything, and this one is just going home. So that proposal was good because we could have had that structured office of opposition, whereby the leader, the person who comes second, could have occupied that office, come up with his shadow cabinet, and it start putting the government in check.
Now, since the Azimio la Umoja proposed this in the BBI, and of course the BBI did not succeed, but now it's being reintroduced into Parliament, is it the same thing? Why is Azimio not taking it? Because this is an office they were agitating for in the BBI.
We need to do it holistically. We need to look at it holistically, because We cannot be amending the constitution today, tomorrow. We need to sit down maybe. Some of these things that they are raising, if they sit down with the president, they can iron out some of those issues, because that is not an issue that the president can just decide. They need to involve even the people. People must be involved. So that even as those officers are required. You see, now we have even the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. It's not in the constitution. But if they sit down and agree, let us now have an office of the Prime Minister. We won't have these noises we are seeing around.
I want us to just look at history and play a clip of you know what happened in 2018, I think 2017, 2018,
yes.
After the general elections, after the repeated elections of the president, where former President Uhuru Kenyatta was re-elected as the president, and the NASA leader, then Raila Odinga, went all the way to streets, and things happened until March 9th when there was a handshake. Can I have that clip?
Yes.
Resist. Safaricom. Resist. Brookside Dairies. Resist. Brookside Dairies. Resist. Bidco Industries. Resist. Bidco Industries. Resist. Jubilee. Resist. Jubilee. Resist. Uhuru Kenyatta. Resist. Uhuru Kenyatta. Resist. William Ruto. Resist. Today, and with immediate effect, we call on all Kenyans who believe in free, fair, and credible elections to boycott products of the following companies. 1, Safaricom. And we do understand that it might not be immediate for our members to move and find alternatives, but we are giving our members until Friday next week to migrate from Safaricom. 2, Brookside Dairies. And this includes Brookside, Ilara, Molo Milk, and Delamere, and all products produced by Brookside Dairies. 3, Bidco Industries.
Hatutaki tena Bomas of Kenya iwe tallying center. Tunataka matokeo itangazwe kwenye vituo ya constituency. Safaricom was the service provider. In other words, the medium through which these results were being transmitted to the constituency tallying center and the national tallying center. But the arrangement which was entered between Safaricom and Saffron Mof, that they are not transferring to Bomas of Kenya. They are transferring these results to a server in France. The Saffron Mof server is not hosted here in Kenya. In other words, these results were terminating in France, and that's where they are today. Safaricom allowed this illegality to go on and did not even care to report the various illegal activities of these KMKITs. You remember that there were several results coming from ungazetted.
Yes, that was a bite from 2018.
Yes.
Before their handshake. The NASA coalition then called for boycott of products and companies, as you have there. Safaricom was one of them, Bidco,
yes.
Brookside Dairies, and some of other companies there, as you have them. Yesterday, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga also announced boycott to other products, and I don't know if you have that clip from the other side. If you had it, we can play it so that now we compare the two and see if the strategy is different or just the same.
Finally, fellow Kenyans, in the second phase of our protests, in response to public demand, we shall now hold protests every Monday and every Thursday beginning next week. We call for the boycott of Safaricom, the Kenya Commercial Bank, and Radio Africa Media, particularly the Star newspaper, who have become enablers and facilitators of this brutal regime. We have the details why we are saying so, and our supporters will understand.
Yes, now that is just from yesterday, where the leader of Azimio la Umoja, Raila Odinga, stated the boycott of Safaricom again, KCB, that is the Kenya Commercial Bank, and Radio Africa Media, to be specific, the Star newspaper, which he said has been an enabler of this regime.
Yeah.
I want us to look at that strategy. First, did this work in 2018?
In 2018, I think to some extent it worked. But before it could pick up, the president was magnanimous enough and he reached out to him. And therefore, when they had that handshake, some of these issues that he's talking about now became water under the bridge.
What about now? Is it going to work? The same strategy? Because it seems to be just the same strategy.
We have to wait
and see.
Sort of
reinventing the wheel.
We have to wait and see if this time around it's going to work or not. But at the end of the day, it has to. It's actually going to have some negative impact. Yeah.
Let me just ask you a question. How is it for one to tell someone to boycott a product or a company that has been, is worked with this company for a long while, has been using this product, and to him, they're good products. The services from the company are good enough. How difficult is it for you to tell one to now stop using that? Are you going to make a choice for them?
Actually, it's not very easy to move people who have gotten used to certain products. But now you see, in a political environment whereby we have poisonous politics, poisoned politics, you see people normally become irrational and emotional. So if most people become emotional and they are convinced that the said companies have been involved in one way or another, some of them might think of boycotting. Yeah. Although I don't think it takes effect so much fast, but actually to some people, they can choose to follow that particular direction.
People are out here asking what really, Raila Odinga, the former Prime Minister, wants to achieve by doing things the same way and expecting different results.
I don't think we have different, because most of the times he has been agitating for issues. We have seen Kenya making strides, especially in democracy. For example, when Moi repealed Section 2A, which had declared Kenya a one-party state, you see it benefited everyone. Today we have so many political parties, anybody can wake up today, form a party. So actually, we can't say that the strategy has not achieved anything. Even the new constitution we have that brought devolution. Right now you can see devolution is benefiting almost everybody. Even those who are against devolution, they said devolution was going to breed tribalism. But today, every corner of this country has felt that devolution exists. So he has failed to capture presidency, yes, but some of the reforms that he has been fighting for over the time, they have borne some fruits.
All right. Now, looking at the way forward, he said that it's not just going to be a day, it's going to be 2 days.
2 days.
On Mondays and Thursdays. Looking at the economy that we have at the moment and looking at what happened on Monday, where the figures we had is that nationally we lost 2 billion from the deputy president. And, from Nairobi County government as well, we had the governor saying that the county collected half of what it usually collects, the 30 million shillings a day.
Yeah.
It's collected half of that. And now it's going to be 2 days a week. Of what impact? Is it really worth it in an economy where the Azimio leader is fighting for the normal mwananchi, for the the cost of living to come down, but again going to set off and set up protests twice a week, with the impact that is going to have with an already struggling economy.
We just came from COVID-19, which had some negative impact on the economy. Actually, it was so bad. It really affected our economy. Not just our economy, but most economies across the globe. Then from there, we have had a very divisive electioneering. So right now, if you look at our shilling against the US dollar, it's almost 140 shillings. So we are not doing so good economically. So if these protests are going to be twice per week, then you can be assured that we are going to have some paralysis. Because the economy is going to be paralyzed.
I've also seen the those working the tourism industry saying that it's going to actually wipe off the gains that the sector had made in the last few months.
The tourism industry will take a hit. They will be adversely affected. The transport sector, the investment. No investor will come into a country which is unstable. They will start running away. So you see, tourism will be affected, the transport sector, and so on, because even counties cannot collect. Because when there are demonstrations, you see, even people who come to Nairobi will not come. Therefore, even that parking fee is gone. The county government cannot collect. So it's going to have a greater negative impact on the economy.
Is it worth it?
And already you know our situation is not good.
Is it worth it from where you sit?
To some extent, they will have to sit down and talk.
Well, the president said that he's willing to talk, but not in a way that creates anarchy and impunity. That's the words that he used. Is willing to talk to people who have the interests of the nation at heart, but not in a way that creates anarchy or promotes impunity. And the former Prime Minister the other day, actually on Sunday, when he was speaking to us, the media, on preparation of the Monday protests, say that he's going to ensure that not only every county that is going to present, a memorandum to the, to the establishments of the government, but he's also going to ensure that in Nairobi, the memorandum is delivered to either the president at State House or at Harambee House. That was not the case. It totally became something else. What do you make of that?
It was not the case. You see, police disrupted everything because we saw some pockets of violence, something that was not so good. It was ugly because they had promised us that the demonstrations were going to be peaceful. But when the police started somehow tear gassing and using the water cannons to spray water to people, that is where the problem began. Now, they did not present the petition to any office. But now going forward, if I was the president, I will look critically into these issues he's trying to raise. For example, he's talking about the opening of the servers. If I was President William Ruto, and I am sure that this seat is mine, I won. I won't take a minute. We know very well that the law doesn't allow the president to open the server. It's very clear. It's the work of IBC. But now, just to ashame Raila Amolo Odinga and show him that you lost, you are saying we go to the server. Let us go to the server.
But who's going to open these servers? And now we don't have an existing IBC.
IBC as a body constitutionally, right now it's paralyzed. But it's supposed to be a body that can work continuously even when some people are not there. For example, we still have the CEO.
Yeah, it's only the CEO is done.
Marjan Hussein is still in office.
A CEO is an accounting officer.
It's an accounting office.
So he's not able to do tasks that are usually done by the chairperson.
I think that when Chebukati was leaving the office, it was a big mistake to let the other commissioners go, because it has actually had an impact on the way how the commission works. They should have waited, because now we don't have any single commissioner in that commission.
Office, and another question the people are asking is, 7 months later, you want the server to be open. 7 months, it's quite a long time. If you really wanted these servers, maybe during the Supreme Court case, that could have sufficed. You think 7 months is quite too late?
You see, when we look at the law, you will clearly see that the Supreme Court has a very short period to hear and determine the petition, especially when it comes to presidential petitions. Actually, within 14 days, they should be done with that petition. And therefore, it becomes very difficult to collect all the evidence within that period and present them to court. Even if you present it, they do not have time to go through such evidence. So maybe we need to look at the law afresh, then you amend it so that we can give them more time to listen, receive more evidence, and determine the case. But for now, it's very difficult, because you see, even themselves, they told us that they ordered the IBC to go and open the server, but it was not opened. We were told, if we open, we are going to interfere. We are going to interfere with the way this company normally operates. They are conducting elections in other countries. You are going to interfere with their privacy and so on. So it was not opened. And you remember in 2017, the Chief Justice by then was Maraga. Maraga actually said, if you don't open the servers, then actually there's something you are trying to hide.
They were not opened.
They were not opened. So for me, from where I sit, if I was the president, I will actually push for the opening of those servers, so that when it comes out that he is the one who then Baba will have nothing to tell the people.
Now, they also want...
He will be told, you told us to open the servers, we opened. Now you are satisfied. You can now relax and allow us move forward. Another thing that they are raising here is about the reconstitution of IBC. You see, IBC has had a lot of challenges. Since 2007, we have not had an election since 2002 that is actually acceptable or accepted across the board. You have had challenges with the election processes in this country. And IBC has had issues, especially Chebukati has presided over 2 general elections. And if you look at the history, you will find out that he has fallen out with all commissioners every now and then. These elections, it was about Cherera and the other 3. You remember in 2017, we also had divisions within the same commission.
And Rosa Kombe.
Where Rosalind Akombe even flee and left, went outside the country into exile. And so many others resigned. So Chebukati as a chairman has had a lot of problems when it comes to managing IBC. And this has actually eroded the confidence the institution should be having. It has badly injured its reputation, because when the chairman is saying this thing, other commissioners, and this is not the first time, other commissioners are speaking a different language, others are resigning. Who is wrong here? Can it be that the commissioners are always the ones who are wrong, or the chairman also has a problem? Because he has had that kind of infighting within the commission. So right now, you will find out that the voter turnout is shrinking as we move forward, because last election we only had 60% of people turning out to vote. So going by what has happened again, it tells you that people are going to be disillusioned. People are going to be pessimistic. They will not be taking part in elections in the future. Because if these elections, over 8 million did not vote, what about the coming general election? Will you be able to raise even 50%? So IBC as a body is injured and they have to re-engineer themselves, look at the ways they can win back the public confidence. So the issue of IEBC is a critical issue. Reconstitution should not be unilateral.
Should be a cross-board.
It should be a cross-board. For example, you have seen the president has been very busy trying to reconstitute IEBC. Since the Cherera 4 were removed, he has moved with the speed, and actually it's like he's reconstituting IEBC unilaterally, which is not good. These are things they can sit down and discuss.
But we know that there are ways, there are modalities how to reconstitute the IEBC, and they even gave the slots in that committee that is supposed to oversee this, and the Azimio la Umoja turned those slots down. They decided not to be part of that. Then how are you going to ensure that your grievances are accorded to if you don't want to take part?
In 1997 we had IPPG.
Yeah.
Whereby commissioners were selected by political parties.
Yeah.
Because you see, we call it Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, but is it independent? Nobody is independent. Even if you give that chairman that ballot box, he will have to tick somewhere.
Yeah.
So yes, the body is independent, but are individuals independent? That is why the subsequent elections in 2002 was clean. There were no issues that were raised. People accepted the results. Because in that commission you have your own people. Yeah, so they check one another. You cannot do any monkey business with the votes, because the political parties have representatives in that commission.
But it's the same even the selection committee. Even the political parties, the coalitions, they have slots for them. We have the slots from even the LSK, from the PSC and all that. It's across board as well.
It has not happened.
Why are we so much against this?
It has not happened because the constitution that is happening right now has been shrouded into mystery. You can see clearly that the process is opaque, and it's actually coming at a time that the country is yet to heal from the divisive elections that we had last year. So I think in constitution of IBC, people should sit down across the board. Let them agree, disagree, and come up with a solution. Let us have a commission that will be able to discharge its mandate to people when everybody is satisfied, so that we avoid the chaos that we are seeing. Yeah.
When you look at what is happening now and where we are headed to, and then get to think of the onslaught of Azimio la Umoja saying that we are now going to hold two protests or 2 demonstrations per week. What do you foresee for the country? What is the best way forward for you?
I think the government has also shot themselves in the foot. First of all, they campaigned on the platform of we are not going for positions. We are just going to be concerned about the poor. Now they are in office. You can see very clearly they have recycled politicians who failed in the last elections. They are in the cabinet. There's no Mamboga in that cabinet. There's no board. Recently, you have just seen the appointments that were done by the president last week on chief administrative secretaries, whereby he appointed 50. A country that is struggling right now, you are appointing 50 chief administrative secretaries who are just going to idle in the office. 50 of them. Who is going to?
The Constitution allowed for 23.
23. Now he has created over 27 more slots, just to reward the loyalists. Now, if you come and tell the people, the economy is not doing well, we are trying to do this and this to make sure that we resuscitate our economy, but you are doing exactly the opposite. First of all, you are bloating the cabinet. Second, you are even appointing billionaires, even people. And you see, again, they are not even talking about the fight of corruption. The fight against corruption has never been the vocabulary, because you can clearly see most cases were dropped, people are given back their money. Second, some of the people who have been appointed, even the chief administrative secretary, they have cases. Like Evans Kidero has an active case on matters corruption. Now he has been afforded another avenue to go there, and you saw clearly the kind of salaries they are going to get, the grants they are supposed to get, the kind of privileges they are supposed to enjoy. In an economy that is struggling, the government is also shooting themselves in the foot.
And yesterday we saw that the office of the president and the office of the president, of course, the office of the deputy president and the prime cabinet secretary,
they were given more money
802
to buy
million
cars.
to be precise, for cars.
You see, they have become extravagant. Even recently, it was reported in the newspapers that the State House budget has gone up.
Yeah.
And you see, they also organize in the denominational prayers every Sunday. And you see, whoever organizes those things, they use a lot of money, millions, because you have to organize the venue, bring the chairs, everything. And you see, because MPs have to travel, they will travel to that particular event using taxpayers' money. The CSS will have to use choppers from coast to wherever the prayers are taking place.
Like this Saturday.
And they are going to pay. Like this Saturday.
They're taking place. There is a homecoming party or a Thanksgiving service of the SCS for Education.
Machogu. Yeah. It's a waste of public resources. They need to come up with ways to ensure that this kind of wastage is not done, especially at this particular time.
Are you saying that maybe the government is not getting the priorities right?
Their priorities are not right. That is the problem. And therefore, when Raila Amolo Odinga comes up with the protest, you will see more people coming in, because people are now becoming dissatisfied and they are now seeing hypocrisy on the side of the government. Because you cannot tell us that you can't subsidize for us unga because there is no money. But at the same time, you are engaging in wasteful activities. You cannot be using over 100 million per week just moving around to pray. That is wastage. Yeah. So they have also gotten their priorities wrong, and that in a way it has fueled the opposition. If today Ruto can be able to address some of the issues, for example, the cost of living, and to avoid the kind of wastages that is going on in the government, Raila will not have people to address. People will be busy. But when you promise Mama Mboga jobs, then they see Millicent Omanga is the Mama Mboga you are talking about. Evans Kidero is the Boda Boda you are talking about. We have seen politicians, even former governors, Narok governor tonight, they are being given jobs. Now you see, even these people who voted for you, they will start asking themselves questions. They will say, now, you see, maybe Raila Amolo Odinga is right, because we did not vote for him, yes, but you see now, whatever they used to tell us with Uhuru, it has come to pass. Yeah. So they need to sit down and look at the way how they spend the money. If you don't have money, then you have your priorities right. Yeah.
Okay, now, even as we conclude, let's look at, the act, the character, and the conduct of the police during these protests, looking at what happened on Monday. What is your take on how the police conducted themselves? First, how do you rate their conduct on Monday?
Their conduct on Monday, I can give them average. They performed averagely.
Why?
You see, we had protests in 4 countries, South Africa, Nigeria, and Tunisia. The South African situation was not so bad, but 4 people lost their lives. Now, coming back to Kenya, we have individual police officers who decided just to disregard the law, because a police force is actually not supposed to be a police force, it's supposed to be a police service. You serve everybody. You're supposed to be impartial, supposed to be neutral. You don't take any sides. But their acts were not good, especially when they prevented the people coming to the CBD, and this actually brought about that kind of confrontations we had. Because they really tried to block people from. They said people were rowdy, but if you look at the way they even handled leaders, you saw Senator for Kilifi, Stewart Mazaya. You saw MP for Ugunja, Opio Wandai. MP for Malindi, Amina Munyaza, and the other one for Kilifi South, Kenny Chonga. They were just found seated singing at cases and they were arrested. Were they engaging in any stone throwing? You saw another officer just tear gassing Sifuna in front of the media. They were just singing. So the police must also up their game, and they must always remain neutral in whatever circumstances that they find themselves in. Yeah.
But we also look at the instances. I think you saw it. It was on air, where officers had to restrain themselves when they were really being pushed to the corner. Around in Madare or Eastleigh, where stones were being hurled at them, but they had to restrain, even run away. What do you do in such a case if you are a police officer?
It's a very difficult situation. You find yourself into a quagmire because people are chasing after you. Yeah. You also have to act. Yeah. You have to repulse them. So it's a very difficult. That is why they go to training. They have to know how to deal with these civilians. Actually, it was not. We also have some protesters who don't follow the law. Yeah. It's obvious. They will always try to provoke the police.
How do we deal with
But
this?
we have individual police officers who are very good.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And we saw actually.
They restrain themselves.
We saw a nice picture of one officer escorting a school-going student in Nairobi to a bus stop.
Yeah.
And that was really nice of them. We saw others even try to talk to demonstrators and reason with them. We saw others share even their bottles of water with demonstrators, and it is a great one. But how do you deal with such, pockets of rowdy demonstrators? How do you deal with this? Because again, when you arrest them, it could be called that now you incite others to come after you.
You see, the problem with the police has been orders from above. You see, when your boss tells you to do this and this, you cannot go against. That has been the main problem. But I'm sure if these guys are allowed to do their duties independently, they can do a great job. Because we have seen examples. Some of them are just good. But we have others who are just provoking people. Like at Serena, you just saw them pouring water on vehicles where Raila was supposed to address the press. You also saw some of them, they were just throwing tear gas aimlessly, even when they are not provoked. So we can have a good police service if they stop taking orders from above and remain independent. Actually, I can commend them because most of them are good. We just have, it's the same way we have some protesters who don't follow the law. It's the same way we have some individual police officers who also don't follow the law.
But the leaders can also be provocative.
The leaders can provoke, yes. But if they provoke, we have the mechanisms that we are supposed to follow so that they are brought to book. But when you find them singing, then you tear gas them. How? It doesn't make sense.
All right, I think we need now to come to a close.
Yes.
If you are given an opportunity to advise the two top leaders in the country, that's the President, William Ruto, the head of state, and of course now the de facto leader of opposition, because that is what he's doing, he's opposing the government of the day, as much as it's not given for in the constitution that we currently have. What will you advise them? Advise President William Ruto and the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga?
First of all, the President, I will tell him that he should serve all Kenyans, and he should not listen to some of the advices that comes from his supporters, especially some MPs who wants to turn him into a dictator. I'll actually advise him to shun these MPs and stick to the constitution, serve Kenyans equal, and also to rein in his deputy so that he doesn't go out there with the reckless statements he's making that end up dividing the country more than it's supposed to unite. And I'll also advise him to pick a phone, call his elder brother Raila Amolo Odinga and have a talk.
Actually, you see nowadays he calls him my elder brother.
That issue of Mzee Kitendawili, Mzee Kuzimia has disappeared.
Is it is there something that is happening?
He has shown some signs that he is ready to speak. But you see, when he comes to public, he has to show some of his supporters that he is still a hardliner so that they are happy. But if you look at the body language, recently he has toned down his attacks. And he has also been humble. Even the way now he refers to the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, he has actually changed. I think he is ready for engagement. As a president, you won't sit down and watch the country being destroyed. Because if in one day, by midday, you have lost 2 billion, and the next week you lose another 2 billion, now it's coming to be twice a week. As a president, you can't just sit and watch, especially a president who claims to be a God-fearing man and he goes to church. At some point, he will have to lower his ego, sit down and speak. I'm sure maybe they are talking.
What about the advice to the Right Honorable Raila Odinga?
I will advise Raila Odinga to make sure that whatever he does is within the constitution. He should make sure that he doesn't do anything extra constitutional.
Like leading to the Monday protests, was anything done unconstitutionally?
No, actually, you see, they had even written the letter to the police, and the Nairobi commandant came out and said, "Oh, we are not allowing any protest," and that is what normally brings problems.
But he had also announced...
The commandant you see, if you look at the law, it doesn't say that the police will give you permission. The police are just supposed to be notified. Once he is notified and he is informed of the areas that the protest will be taking place, he now organizes his security.
But he had also declared Monday as a public holiday. That's unconstitutional, isn't it?
It was unconstitutional, yes, but it was better off observed than even the normal holidays that are normally gazetted. Yeah, it was unconstitutional, yes, but it was observed. Most people did not report to work. So most of these things is doing just political rhetorics, but once sobriety reigns, they can sit down and discuss these issues.
And talk. But the Kenya Kwanza MPs, led by the leader of majority in Parliament, in the National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, want Raila arrested.
So you see, they are in the government. You find the deputy president is calling for the arrest of Raila. You find the Kenya Kwanza MPs calling for his arrest. Even the police will tell you arrest Raila. Now who is going to arrest him? Because everybody is saying arrest him, including those people who are supposed to arrest him. Now who is going to arrest him? And will arresting him make the situation any better?
What do you think?
The issue of arrest is out of the discussion because you cannot actually arrest him and take him to court. Just arrest him if he has committed anything wrong, take him to court and get him charged. That is the law. But when you see most of these, they are just playing politics. They know very well that he has done nothing wrong and he cannot be arrested at this time because it is provided for in the constitution. He has not done anything that is extra constitutional.
The issue to do with maybe the distractions and loss of property and all that.
You know, he doesn't control the protesters. Protesters should always remain peaceful and observe the law. Because if you have over 100,000 protesters, how are you going to control them as an individual? It's very difficult. Now that is where the police come in, because if you have criminal elements who are infiltrating into the peaceful demonstrations and destroying property, vandalizing property, now the police need to come, arrest those guys and take them, charge them. because those are now criminals. They are not protesters. Yeah.
Do you, for you where you're seated, do you foresee a handshake? Like the one we saw in 2018, March 9?
There could be a handshake, but maybe it will come in another form.
Not really a handshake.
It has been, yeah, throughout, because even if you look at the handshake he had with Moi, the one with the Kibaki, and the one with, there are 3 different handshakes. They have achieved different results under different circumstances. And this one is also another different circumstance. So if they have to talk, I'm sure there could be a handshake, yes, but it could come in other form. Yeah.
But would you rather have Raila on the side of the presidency or as one who puts checks and balances for the government?
It's better he puts checks and balances so that this government can deliver.
Okay.
Yeah.
We wait and see how that pans out. We wait and see what happens next week, because now it's going to be Tear Gas Mondays and Thursdays. We wait and see if that's going to be the case, or the government will have, you know, kept in and at least allowed for dialogue, or allow all these issues being raised by the Azimio la Umoja, you know, being addressed to some extent before Monday. We wait to see what that happens. I want to thank you very much for being with us today in the show, Naftali.
Yeah.
And next time we believe that you'll find an easier route here.
Yeah.
I know that Nairobi is a mixed
yeah.
routes, but
I'll try.
Yeah, you'll find time. But
Thank
you for the conversation. It's been great, and we believe that next time we invite you, you of course you know, humbly allow us to have you in studio.
Yeah.
I also want to thank you you know, viewer, for being with us throughout the show since 8 a.m. Time to call it a day. We'll see you again next Wednesday when we look at what will have developed on Monday, and of course what should be developing on that Thursday. But we believe that all is well for the benefit of the country. My name is Vincent Kerosi, and for on behalf of everyone who made this show a success, I want to say thank you and enjoy you know, your day and the end of the week. Bye bye.
Sawa.